Welcome to 5 Minutes with the AA examining team. I am a member of the examining team. Over the next 5 minutes, I would like to give you some key messages about the AA exam. Particularly, I'd like to focus on the best ways to prepare for the exam. So, what are the facts? You must be clear that the AA exam will require you to apply your knowledge. Many questions require an answer responsive to the scenario, such as audit risk, controls, or substantive procedures. These questions are testing your ability to take the information provided and address the issues identified. There will be very few marks available for providing general answers that could be applied to any audit. A recent exam contained a question which asked for substantive procedures to allow the auditor to gather evidence over specific events that occurred during the year, namely a revaluation and change in useful life of buildings. This question was looking for a specialised response. How would the auditor test these specific transactions? Providing a list of general tests for PPE, such as physical verification of a sample of assets, would score a few marks. Make your procedures specific. Use the detail provided in the scenario. Remember, we have provided the information for a reason. Before you answer the questions, we recommend that you really must plan your answer. There are multiple benefits of it. It will ensure that you have a directed response, stop you wasting time, and gives you a consistent approach for digesting information provided. Read the requirement first. This will allow you to gather relevant information from the scenario from the first reading. Take note of the terminology being used. Is it asking you to identify, explain, or describe? This should help you to determine the level of depth that is required. How many points have you been asked for? For example, if the requirement asks for 5 audit risks, then don't waste any time covering more. Draft your plan. Identify those points that you intend to cover and check if you have enough points to score the marks. You now have a skeleton outline of your answer, and therefore writing it should be easier and quicker. And now you've drafted your plan, let's look at how the marks can be broken down. You may see a 10-mark question relating to control deficiencies and recommendations, with the requirement asking for 5 deficiencies. Straight away, you should therefore see that each point could be worth 2 marks. We can break this down further. To identify and explain is worth 1 mark, which then subdivides to a half mark each. Each suitable control recommendation will be worth 1 full mark for a well-written recommendation. This allows you to consider how the 10 marks are awarded and to plan what you need to write. You can also see from this question how specific comments are required. The deficiency must be identified from the scenario, and the control recommendation must deal with the issue identified. You can apply this methodology to any of the questions in the AA exam. For example, if you are asked to identify, list, or state, each point will be worth half a mark. So if the question asks you to identify some of the elements of an unmodified audit report for 2 marks, you can establish that you need 4 of the 10 elements. If asked to describe or explain, more depth will be required, and each relevant point will be worth 1 mark. If you're asked to provide substantive procedures, tests of control, or control recommendations, then these will be worth 1 mark each. So a substantive procedure requirement worth 6 marks will need you to provide at least 6 procedures to score those marks. This approach will allow you to provide tailored answers in the time given. You must finish the exam, and attempting all of the questions will give you a better chance of success. We hope that you have found this session interesting and informative, and wish you the best of luck in your forthcoming exams.